and welcome to the June 28th, 2021 City Council meeting. Thank you for joining us in this remote meeting format we're using in response to Governor Brown's Stay Home, Save Lives order. This format enables the City Council to meet, hear from the community, and take care of business while keeping everyone safe. Anyone wishing to access the meeting can do so by watching the live stream available on our website, the broadcast on Comcast Channel 21, or by following the access instructions listed for this meeting on the public webcast and meeting materials web page. Tonight's meeting will include a public forum and 3 public hearings later on in the evening. If you wish to participate during the public forum portion of the meeting and haven't already done so, please raise your virtual hand now to join the speakers queue in one of 2 ways. For those viewing the meeting on a computer, laptop, or other device, click once on the hand icon. For those listening to the meeting on a phone, press *9. We will continue accepting raised hands until 7:35. The meeting moderator will unraise or disallow any requests to speak that are made after that deadline. You will have 2.5 minutes to speak. For those who wish to testify at the public hearings, please wait to raise your virtual hand until I announce that it is time to do so in my introductory remarks for each hearing. Requests to speak will be accepted until the first person begins testifying. And as a reminder, we are allowing speakers the option of turning on your video when you are called on to speak. As your turn is announced, the meeting moderator will temporarily promote you to panelist, and you can unmute and turn on your video if you wish. And this transition sometimes takes a little bit longer, so be patient. Also, I encourage everyone to use this increased access in a responsible way. Our intent is simply to be able to see each other's faces as testimony is given. Any misuse of the platform or violation of the council's code of conduct will result in the termination of your speaking privilege. And finally, thank you all for joining us. As always, feel free to contact any of us individually or together via email or voicemail if there is testimony you were not able to provide or wish to get to us in a different manner. And now we'll open this meeting formally with a land acknowledgement. Since time immemorial, the Kalapuya people have been the indigenous stewards to our region, building dynamic communities, maintaining balance with wildlife, and enacting sustainable land practices. Following treaties between 1851 and 1855, Kalapuya people were dispossessed of their indigenous homeland by the United States government and forcibly removed to the Coast Reservation in Western Oregon. The city of Eugene is built within the traditional homelands known as Kalapuya Ilihi. Kalapuya descendants are citizens of the Confederated Tribes of Grand Ronde Community of Oregon and the Confederated Tribes of the Siletz Indians of Oregon, and continue to make contributions in our communities here and across the lands. We acknowledge the inherent political sovereignty of the 9 federally recognized tribal nations in the state of Oregon and all American Indian, Alaska Native people who live here. And before we move into our first agenda item, I also have a proclamation to share. And so if you give me a moment, I will read this proclamation. Whereas the medical condition known as HIV and AIDS is still a prominent and national concern, with 38,000 new infections each year. In the United States, in 2018 alone, 1,739 youth under the age of 19 were diagnosed with HIV. Almost 11,000 Oregonians were diagnosed with HIV in the last 39 years, with approximately 230 new cases of HIV occurring each year in the state. And whereas 1 in 7 individuals are unaware that they are HIV positive, and only 4 in 10 Oregonians have ever been tested for HIV. And whereas testing is critical to HIV prevention, getting tested and actively managing HIV through treatment can not only reduce mortality and improve quality of life, but also reduces the risk of spread of HIV from an infected person to their partner by 96%. And whereas each year on June 27, the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, AIDS, and other national and local entities across the United States organize National HIV Testing Day. This initiative is a national challenge for knowing one's HIV status. It encourages individuals to obtain their HIV status either through in-person or self-testing. And whereas city officials are exceptionally situated to increase awareness and understanding among their constituents that all Americans need to be tested for HIV infections to not only protect their own health, but to also work towards eradicating HIV and AIDS. Now, therefore, I, Lucy Venus, Mayor of the City of Eugene, Oregon, do hereby proclaim June 27, 2021 as National HIV Testing Day, as a day to build awareness that knowing is power and to encourage all residents to obtain their HIV status. Thank you. And now I open this for our first item of business, which is committee reports and items of interest. And I'm wondering if there are councilors who have reports or items. And it looks like I do. Okay, Councilor Syret and then Councilor Semple.
Thank you, Mayor. So I just am sharing concerns that I've received from folks in Ward 7 about the danger of fireworks in this excessive heat time. I have two different constituents who've written to me. I actually have more than two, but two just in the last 2 days. And, you know, as I expected for some of them, they are wondering why the South Hills is being protected and the rest of the city is not. So that's kind of how it feels when we take action just in one part of the city. So I can appreciate that sentiment. And then another person who pleaded for a citywide ban given the extreme temperature, but then also, you know, said if that's not possible, you know, encouraging us to make sure that we are operationally ready to respond to fireworks that are currently illegal, the you know, the large loud ones that can travel more than 12 feet. And so I wanted to ask the city manager if we could get an update at our Wednesday meeting on what the operations plan is for 4th of July. And then I would like to know if our fire chief is considering a citywide ban given the dangerous conditions we have right now.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm writing a note to myself for Wednesday. Chris wasn't able to be here tonight. He's at a Springfield City Council meeting, but I did have a chance to just briefly talk with him. He wasn't considering recommending that at this time. I think we're still at a moderate level, even though it's probably changing really quickly. We can definitely pivot to do that if we need to, but I think I would defer to him and maybe see if he could be here on Wednesday.
Yeah, because right now the council doesn't have, we don't have the time to do it through a council process, but my understanding is the fire chief could make that declaration if he believed that that was the prudent thing to do.
Yeah, I think he would have to do that through declaring some sort of emergency, but I have to defer.
And so could we get some info at our Wednesday meeting on what the plan is to do enforcement on the 4th of July?
Sure thing.
Great. Thank you. Thanks, Mayor.
Okay, thank you. Councilor Semple and then Councilor Groves.
Thank you. Well, I had a couple of concerns, and absolutely one of them is Councilor Syret's concern. Also hearing from people who are wondering why they're not protected also. I really like quiet fireworks, but this year is just exceptional, and my garden is so dry, just pouring water onto it. And there's a lot of trees, and I live in a wooden house. I think a lot of us do. So it's too late for council to do anything this year. but I'm concerned, and so I'm asking everybody to be really super duper careful if you are using fireworks, legal ones. Put them on pavement, not near any vegetation. Have a hose. Have adults. This is not really the best idea right now. And just like we don't seem to have equity for fire protection, we do have equity for RV parking, and that's a subject I'm concerned about. I think that most people don't know how dangerous the commercial industrial areas in West Eugene are right now, and the parking changes I hope will help, but I think we're going to need something bigger, more in addition to that. But I'm concerned about people who can't put their RV on the street, whether they live there or not. And of course, it would be so much easier if we already had the place for them to go. And I'm still wondering how we're going to enforce it. You know, if that's not in the rules. How many tickets? Are we going to jail? No, of course not. But what's going to happen? So I'm concerned about that. And surely we can't tow them, because if we had somewhere to tow them, they could just park there to start with. So equity here, equity there, it's a little confusing. Everybody, it was super duper duper hot. Oh my gosh, the temperature just came down, but it's gonna stay really warm. Remember to drink water, drink water. I put glasses all around my house, and every time I pass one, I drink some. If you're feeling cranky or tired, drink some water and then figure out what's up. So this is a really serious thing. I took a walk at noon on Saturday and had to take care of myself. And if you haven't gotten your shot yet, please get your shot. Get Johnson & Johnson, no line, no waiting, be done. I have no side effects. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilor Groves, and then Councilor Keating.
Thank you, Mayor. I thought I'd just weigh in a little bit on the fireworks piece since Chief Heppel is not here. First of all, I really look forward to a more robust discussion about this come fall, when we can start planning for next year before plans are put in place. I think we at least need to have a discussion as council. I don't know if we need to poll for a work session, or if everybody just can kind of nod their head and that's good enough to get it on the docket. But I think we need to have that discussion. Second of all, the reason that the South Hills are so critical is because of the fuel load that's in the South Hills, plus fire loves to burn up and out. When you get a natural cover fire going, it tends to progress more quickly uphill, and it goes out at a V shape. So fire spreads much more quickly. That does not mean that we do not have concerns about what is going on down in other parts of our community as well. To echo what Councilor Semple said, there should be no illegal fireworks discharged in the city limits. That's already illegal by state law. And that if you are going to discharge legal fireworks, please be responsible. Hard surfaces, especially away from arborvitae hedges, things like that just literally explode and communicate the spread of fire very quickly. The final piece, and again, I have not seen the fuel moistures that are out there, but generally it's the 100 and 1,000-hour fuels that firefighters are most concerned with. And they take much longer to dry out than the light-end fuels that are around us right now. That does not mean that we are without risk, because we certainly are in a high-risk situation. But it's easier to control if you don't have to worry about the large trees really taking off. And I'm pretty sure that's what's going on right now. But again, I'm not plugged into the same resources I used to be. So that's just for people watching, that's a little bit more of the story. But again, this is a serious situation. We do need to be responsible about it. And I do look forward to a more permanent and lasting solution in the future. The other piece on the RV parking, I agree with Councilor Semple. I mean, this is just a first step. It's impossible to get all these steps in place at the same time as we move forward, but we have extremely volatile and dangerous situations going on in West Eugene right now. And that's what this is designed to at least help us address. It gives us another tool. And I will look forward to discussions around CSI funding and possibly more help with parking enforcement in the future. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilor Keating.
Thanks, Mayor. Can you hear me now? Cool. Apologies for all the fans blowing in the background. I'm one of the counselors without air conditioning, so I think I've lost some of my COVID pounds I put on over the last year and a half. I want to thank counselors for bringing up the fireworks conversation, and I appreciate the unanimous support last week to ban fireworks in the South Hills where there is an immediate danger. But I also want to recognize that our neighbors to the east, the municipality of Bend, announced today that Bend has prohibited the use of all fireworks through July 9th with a $750 fine if violated. The water shortage concern and record heat and drought has put that particular community, and frankly, a whole host of communities, including our own right here in the South Hills, at risk. And I want to congratulate our partners in Bend, Oregon, for doing the right thing. And if it's in front of us, I would support a municipal ban or an executive order to that effect as well. I also want to recognize that we are in Pride Month, and the Eugene Emeralds hosted a spectacular Pride Night on Friday. It was great to see the mayor there. It was great to see the mayor's partner, Glenn. It was great to see Commissioner Trieger throughout the first pitch. And the M's auctioned off rainbow Pride-themed bases and Pride jerseys, supporting the Matthew Shepard Foundation. So thank you, Eugene Emeralds, for all you do to lean into to pride and diversity and celebration of all in our community. Tracktown USA has come to a conclusion. The Olympic trials, I've attended multiple days at the trials, and I want to thank the Tracktown USA officials at Hayward Field who did the right thing by moving around and juggling the schedule to not put attendees and athletes and participants and employees at risk of extreme exposure to the heat. And all in all, it was, I was going to say it's an A+ event, but I'll give it a solid A and ask officials at Hayward Field to consider mist stations. Mist stations would be welcome at Hayward Field for future Tracktown USA events. But it was a stellar time. And thank you to our county and city and state partners who and LTD for that matter, who at our community centers and our faith centers, who over the weekend in these extreme conditions opened up cooling centers, provided complimentary free rides to cooling centers. The community really came together, Mayor, in a short amount of time and stepped up and helped connect folks in need. Speaking of folks in need, Mayor, just give me 10 more seconds, please. The Human Services Commission had a robust conversation about rental assistance. There is a link on our city page if you look up Eugene City rental code. But on the county's page, it points out that the CDC has extended the eviction moratorium for a month. There are certain criteria to meet. The county has done an amazing job getting resources out to folks most in need. If you are in need of, or you don't know what your situation is like, go to the Lane County webpage or the City of Eugene rental code enforcement page, or just Google rental assistance Lane County to get connected to vital rental assistance from the state and from the feds. Thanks, Mayor.
Yeah, thank you very much for all of those updates, and particularly that final update on rental assistance, because time is pressing on many people in our community. I wanted just to to actually bring people up to date a little bit on how the cooling centers actually worked over the weekend, because it was an important partnership. Understanding that 61 people went to the Wayne County cooling site at the fairgrounds, approximately 30% were housed individuals. And most didn't stay for a prolonged period of time and sort of dipped in to cool off and then went on. The library was open on Saturday. There were only 9 people who claimed to be there to just cool off. So other patrons were just there. The Hilliard Community Service, which we opened, only served 4 people. And so I think there are some lessons around this about the sense is that people who have places where they've got a tent site or a car site don't want to leave it, and don't want to lose that toehold, that little bit of real estate in order to show up at a cooling center. So I think, going forward, it's my persistent call that we need to continue to be able to extend services to people where they are, because they can't leave those sites. And so I'm looking forward to the progress that the city makes on the new safe sleeping sites, and still looking to all of our partners, and appreciate all of the providers who went out to people and provided them with frozen bottles of water and cold water, because that seems to be the most helpful. And this probably won't be the last heat wave. So I think every lesson that we learn, we should contribute to the next phase. And with that, we are ready to go to the consent calendar. I just want to check in with Jennifer. Did you connect with Greg?
I texted him, but I haven't heard back.
Okay, let me try it one more time. We are hoping to have Counselor Evans, who is at a festive event because his son just got married, but we're hoping to have him vote on item 2C, our vision values.
He just texted me, so I'm hoping he's joining right now.
Okay, excellent. So, so we have 2 options. We can sit and wait, or we can, somebody could pull item C, and then we could do the other consent calendar, and then we could do item C when Councilor Evans is available. And Councilor Keating.
The city manager owes us an interpretive dance. The past, we're waiting.
I think I don't have to do that till September. I'm pretty sure.
Mayor, I'm happy to pull item 2C.
Okay, that would be great.
Yeah, and Councilor Ye, you can make the motion and say minus 2C, and then you can go back and make that separately.
So I move to approve the items on the consent calendar minus C.
Do I have a second? All in favor, please raise your hands. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Thank you very much. That passes. And then we're still in a holding pattern, hoping for Councilor Evans to chime in. We'll give him another minute or 2. And somebody can tell a joke.
Yeah, if you want, I could just do a high level overview again of what
Perfect.
You might be voting on or you might not be voting on. But as you know, you've been working pretty steadily, kind of started early on in the fall and then waited for your 2 new counselors to join to kind of update your vision statement and kind of revisit your goals and outcomes. So we've shifted it now to a vision and value statement. And you've updated your goals and your outcomes. We've had several different workshops over a couple of Saturdays and evenings, kind of refining your words around that. So tonight, what we're hoping is that you'll be able to vote kind of unanimously with all of you here to go ahead and adopt those, knowing that there are a couple of items under safe community that relate specifically to policing that I've continued to show as we'll need to revisit these. And I thought, as we kind of come into the fall and you have more conversations about the CSI and ad hoc work, there may be an opportunity in there where you say, we actually want to tweak these around a little bit. So that's what's in the packet tonight. You'd also had conversations about shifting your operating agreements, and we're going to move that conversation into the fall where you can have a longer discussion about how you want to handle the forum when you're kind of back in person and starting to experience what that's like. So that's currently the plan. I see Councilor Evans just joined in, so he missed my whole summary of what you'd be voting on with the vision, values, and goals, but that's the item that's ahead of you.
Okay, that is great. Thank you, Councilor Evans, for joining us. And so with that, Councilor Yee, you want to put the final item on the table?
Sure. So I move to approve item 2C on the consent calendar.
Second.
All in favor, please raise your hands or, oh, and there we go. We have Councilor Evans with his hand. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Councilor Evans, for joining us for that vote. We appreciate it and congratulations.
I'll see you guys later.
Okay, wonderful. Thank you. All right. With that, we are now ready to proceed with the public forum. The public forum is an opportunity for individuals to speak to the City Council on any city-related issues except for those items which have already been heard by a hearings official. When it is your turn, the moderator will announce your name and promote you to panelist status. Please state your name clearly and, for Eugene residents, your ward if known before beginning your comments. Again, each person will have 2.5 minutes to speak. If you are watching the meeting, the timer should be visible. A yellow light will come on when you have 15 seconds left to complete your comments. The red light indicates the end of the 2.5 minutes. When your time has concluded, the moderator will demote you back to attendee status and move on to the next speaker. For those who have connected to the meeting via phone and don't have the benefit of seeing the timer, please be aware that your microphone will be muted at the 2.5 minute mark. And so with that, I am going to turn it over to Naya, I believe, is moderating.
Thank you, Mayor. So we have 2 speakers tonight, and first is John Borofsky, followed by Matthew Ulick.
Good evening, Madam Mayor and City Council. My name is John Borofsky, and I'm the EWEB Commissioner representing Wards 2 and 3. EWEB is invested in our water system to ensure that our customers continue to have clean, safe, and reliable drinking water. Maintaining drinking water reliability and keeping our water system prepared and adaptable to future changes is our highest priority. One of the most significant projects underway is building 2 new water storage tanks at a property near East 40th and Patterson Street in Eugene. EWEB purchased the property in the 1950s as a future water storage site because it meets specific elevation requirements. We recognize that some members of the public are concerned about the siting decision and loss of trees on the site, as well as the public process to get to this decision. A few key points I'd like to share. The new storage tank at East 40th will become part of the system that serves 87% of Eugene. For more than a year, EWEB staff and commissioners have studied and vetted trade-offs to make a well-informed, data-driven decision for the entire community. We hired external experts to conduct a detailed ecological study and perform triple bottom line analysis of the tank sightings. As councilors, you understand well that a public infrastructure project of this size requires trade-offs to immediate neighbors, including engineering requirements, viewshed impacts, and limited duration and extent of construction impacts. It's true that about 25% of the trees on the site will come down, including some larger, older firs, but impacts to the fir stand is a trade-off to protect a healthy oak habitat that is increasingly rare, but more resilient to warmer, drier climate. EWEB is taking extra steps to mitigate tree impacts. Down trees are being donated to a City of Eugene wetland restoration project, as well as for other public use projects in the Southeast neighborhood and the City of Springfield. Habitat enhancement and re-landscaping the 7 acres that will remain as public open space is also planned. We know that a project of this scale and magnitude will be disruptive and comes with some habitat loss. But I also believe it can be a model for how public property can be used to build resiliency for both people and our natural areas of our city. Thank you.
Thank you, John. Next is Matthew. Matthew, please unmute.
Hello, sorry, Matthew Uke, Ward 4. And I want to first thank you all very much, even though it's already been a little bit of a thing, for the upcoming Winco down here on off of Crescent, or off of Chat Drive. It's going to be huge. I know many neighbors, I know many folk here that are family folk trying to survive and buy groceries. And while we're no extent a food desert, thankfully, with the Safeway Market of Choice, they're still a little out of price range for a lot of the folk that are able to afford some of the units out here. And so thank you, thank you, thank you. And I apologize so much that there's a lawsuit coming, it seems, from the Crescent Village folk, the Maxis de Chase developers, you know, are behind that, which are also the same ones that got awarded the Riverfront development and 1059 Willamette development. And so I'm a little upset that they're taking the easing of the urban growth boundary for the great profit of those really expensive townhouses, right? Because it provided much needed housing, which is something that, you know, I'm all for, y'all. But that they would come back and try to sue to prevent Winco from going in there, which is a great use of that space that is currently vacant. I hope that future contracts where they're the only bidders, that definitely get some a little more scrutiny if we could do on that. And then again, I'm here to encourage, please make sure that you keep committees open and keep looking into the hybrid engagement that is now possible, since we've already got the technology and communication channels in place for the telecommuting as is, because I think it'll increase access regardless, which is an amazing thing for moving forward together with a shared plan of this is what we're doing and why. These are the limitations and restrictions that we have already navigated. We wish we could, you know, repeat them ad nauseum until everyone could hear everything at once, you know, or to their pleasure, but making it accessible is at least the first step, and ensuring its accessibility from here on out is something I really honestly hope you push for. Also, the taking human rights complaints on violations, bias crimes, putting them through the HRC, HRNI, like just fund someone there full time, help them develop more anti-bias trainings as opposed to the piecemeal one that doesn't get as much advertising as it should. And the upstandard bystander training that doesn't get as much advertising or interest as it seems it should. And that would be a very easy push for some other stuff I'm gonna talk about later with a bunch of stuff. And I mean, thank y'all. Just, I know Eugene can do better. I know y'all want to do stuff for us here in Eugene, and I thank you for your time.
Thank you, Matthew. So it looks like we had 350 Eugene had their hand up and then it was lowered. So I am promoting you to panelists. 350 Eugene, if you would like to speak.
Thank you.
You are welcome.
Good evening. My name is Deborah McGee and I live in the county. After last year's fires, I bought a 2,500 gallon water tank and let it fill with rainwater. A helpful inspector from Lane Fire Authority came out and showed me how to defend my home from fire. I was thankful. I'm also frightened that my log house and my little patch of forest will burn up. It was 160 degrees in Salem yesterday. Ice storm, snowstorm, heat storm. We experienced all these extreme weather events in the last several years. Science says the pollution we have put into the air has heated the planet 1.8 degrees Fahrenheit hotter than it would be if we had not put that pollution into the air. The good news is we can stop putting the pollution into the air, and that will help stop the extreme weather. The pollution comes from the burning of fossil fuels. Scientists tell us the low-hanging fruit to slow the crisis is to stop natural gas. The council has approved the path forward with Northwest Natural, our for-profit investor-owned gas utility, using Oregon Senate Bill 844. I was so excited to learn more. I looked up the 2013 bill. I also looked up the 2021 PUC report to the legislature on the bill. I wanted to know about any projects that had been submitted which resulted in greenhouse gas emissions. So I called the person who prepared the report. Her name is Kimberly Herb. She's a program manager at the Oregon PUC. She told me there were no projects, no greenhouse gas emissions, and only one application in 8 years by Northwest Natural, which had been denied. I asked her, why aren't the gas companies participating? She said the way the bill was written made it really hard to meet the requirements that included reducing greenhouse gas emissions at a reasonable cost. So is it even possible to get approval from the PUC for a project? Is it possible to meet the requirements? It's never been done in 8 years, and Northwest Natural Gas has already failed once. There's a lack of evidence that this is a workable path forward. What we need to do is regulate the expansion of fossil gas in our community. We need to heat our buildings and water with electricity. No one is talking about taking away anyone's gas appliances. As our community leaders, it is your responsibility to protect the safety and health of our community. Your responsibility to help us meet the goals of the CAP and the CRO. Please use your power. Thank you.
Thank you. And Mayor, that concludes the public forum for tonight.
Thank you. Are there any counselors who wish to ask or comment? I see Counselor Syret.
Yeah, thank you, Mayor. I'm actually not going to respond directly to public forum. I appreciate folks coming to speak to us. I'm surprised there's so few. Maybe people are heat exhausted and just don't feel like getting on a Zoom call, which I totally don't blame them. Just as an aside, people are setting off fireworks just near my house right now. I can hear it. I logged into the fireworks app that we have and reported it. But I could have brought this up under item of interest. It's just a nice little story. So I had the opportunity, my husband and I got up very early Sunday morning so we could beat the heat and go hike on the east side of Mount Pisgah. And there were other folks out there too. And at one point we were, being polite as we crossed paths, and the woman who was passing by me looked at me and said, "Are you Claire?" And I said, "Yeah." And she said, I just want to thank you for your service on City Council. I was like, oh, okay, random person. And then she went on to say that she hadn't been engaged in the work of the council up until this past year. And she started paying attention, and now she watches routinely. And she also said that she can see how hard we are all working and that she really appreciates that. So I wanted to pass that along to everyone. Thanks.
Thank you. It's a well-deserved appreciation for all the work you do. Thanks for sharing that. Councilor Keating.
You're muted, Counselor Keating.
Can you hear me now? Great, thanks. Mayor, I wanted to respond to a couple of the public comments. First of all, Deb from 350, I agree with you, and I thank you for your testimony. Commissioner Borofsky, thank you for joining us. Commissioner John Borofsky is my eWeb commissioner, wards 2 and 3, and I would just ask the commissioner to recall that the environmental impact study that was done on the site in South Eugene on Patterson was done, I believe, in the fall, and it was not done when there's flora and fauna flourishing on that site. Moreover, the environmental impact study that was done, I believe, was done when the project was when the proposal was one tank now, possibly another tank in a decade. I have great respect for our friends at eWeb, Mayor, and I ask that the commissioners and Eugene Water and Electric Board just consider the significant impacts to the neighborhood and to the environment for advancing a project two tanks now, as opposed to one tank now, and focusing on Hawkins and focusing on College Hill, and moving forward with a second tank. Yes, there's been a lot of public engagement in the digital space, which is a difficult endeavor during COVID. I commend and applaud our eWeb partners for that effort, but more can be done. And I just ask for more to be done. And I look forward to being a helpful partner in that endeavor. Mayor, I gave a report at the top of this meeting in regards to the rental assistance and the eviction moratorium extension as recommended by the CDC for another month. You can go to the Lane County website for that information, or you can go to the City of Eugene's website under our rental housing code for links. And I asked staff for an update in regards to the number of households helped in our community with rental assistance. And as reported, that as of our May 19th Human Services Commission meeting, $10.5 million has been used to assist 2,322 households. More than 2,300 households in our community have been directly, who have been helped by these vital resources. So, Mayor, I just want to say thank you to everyone who's amplifying that urgent need. And as anyone who ever asks me, how's it going on council? I double down and say, my colleagues are great, whether we agree or disagree, and staff have been stellar. And the issues, of course, in front of us are immense. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, and thank you for sharing those stats. Councilor Semple.
Thank you. A follow-up to Councilor Keating's comments on eWeb. Before COVID, I was at a meeting up in the College Hill neighbors with a presentation about the remodel of the water tanks and public space up there. And it was a pretty intense project. And at that time, I think there was just the one tank at 40th. So if you're doing two tanks at 40th, how does that affect the College Hill project? I'm still here.
Yeah, I think we're planning on trying to have a joint eWeb City Council meeting in the fall where we can talk about some of these. But as I remember the last meeting I had, and others could weigh in, I feel like the College Hill project is scaled back a little bit, but I could be wrong. So I'd rather wait and get back to you on that.
Okay, I'm just wondering because there was a lot of energy about it. So if it's not the same thing, it would be good to know.
Okay, thank you. If there are no other comments around the public forum, I will move on to the next item on our agenda, which is a public hearing and action. A resolution adopting a supplemental budget making appropriations for the City of Eugene for the fiscal year beginning July 1, 2020 and ending, this has to be wrong. Oh, July 1, 2020 and ending June 30th, 2021. This is a public hearing on a resolution adopting a supplemental budget. For those wishing to testify during the public hearing, please raise your virtual hand or press star 9 if you have joined via phone. Requests to speak will be accepted until the first person to testify begins speaking. When you are called on to speak, please give your name, city of residence, and for Eugene residents, your ward if known. You will have 3 minutes to comment. A timer will appear on the screen to indicate the time you have to speak. The red light indicates the end of the 3 minutes. City Manager, would you like to introduce the topic, please?
Yes, thank you. So as you said, this is the supplemental budget number 3 for our FY21 budget. This supplemental budget includes new revenue and revenue-backed items that are detailed in the AIS. Included is recognition of the first half of the American Rescue Plan Act funds, so ARPA funds that we received in May. Allocation for those funds will be finalized in as part of the FY2 supplemental budget as we discussed and the motion was made during the process. So this will just recognize it and put it into its own reserve. The supplemental budget also includes some one-time funding requests from the general fund, including distressed fund stabilization and funds for unhoused response. These revenue and expenses were not anticipated in the FY21 budget, and a supplemental budget action is requested at this time to increase the legal appropriation level for these items. And we have city staff here if there are questions about that.
Thank you very much. I now open the public hearing. Naya, do we have folks lined up to testify?
Yes, we do, Mayor. We have 3 people. First will be John Borofsky, followed by Eugene Chamber. And John, please unmute.
Thank you. Thank you, Mayor and City Council. Nice to see you again. I'm commenting on Supplemental Budget 3. This is a budget, like the city manager just mentioned, that's recognizing new revenues, but I think there's a few things in there that are important to bring to council's attention. Obviously, the $19.6 million in ARPA funds is huge, and I applaud the city manager for the process that's going to be used in allocating those funds going forward. There are a couple other areas that are of note. The distressed funds that is coming out of the Reserve for Revenue shortfall, $900,000 to the parking fund. As many of you longtime councilors know, the parking fund used to generate approximately that much money to the general fund. Now we're having to supplement it with $900,000 out of the Reserve for Revenue shortfall. Also, the Cultural Services Fund is going to need some shoring up until some federal money that is on the horizon might be coming in. The thing that I'm most excited about, and I think that you guys can be proud of, is the one-time dollars that are going for the unhoused response. You know, people often ask, what are we doing about the unhoused? And in this supplemental budget, you're allocating over $1.1 million to help with that process that's going forward. It will give over, let me look at my notes here, over 500 managed sites for people to camp on, between tent camps and RV camps. That's huge. So I think this is it's a tough thing to do at this time, to dip into reserves to get to this point, but I think it's very brave of you and wise of you to move forward with this type of a supplemental budget. There's some other things there that are in there. There's $500,000 to keep the blue bikes on the streets. You know, there was an interim process where one of the purveyors of that program backed out, and the city stepped up to keep our transportation things going. Now that will be backfilled. Hopefully, it's just kind of as I understand it, it's just kind of a gap funding until that money can be reallocated, but the bike stayed on the streets, and I think that that's an important part for it. So I applaud the city manager for putting forward this supplemental budget, and I hope you approve it.
Thank you, John. Next is Eugene Chamber, followed by Matthew Yook.
Good evening, Mayor, City Council. My name is Brittany Quickwarner. I am the President and CEO at the Eugene Chamber. I am here to comment in support of the supplemental budget. We have been following and tracking on the budget this year and previous years very closely. And you guys know the level of engagement we've had over the last couple of months in specifically the issues around finding more safe spaces for our unhoused, and also helping the businesses and individuals who are dealing with some of the increased crime and just unsafe situations out in West Eugene and some other places across the community. I'm very supportive. I echo John's comments about the one-time funding going into some of these activities. I know that we can only do so much without having the money to pay for it, so I support that. I also just want to issue my support for the management kind of structure that Sarah has implemented within city staff to kind of deal with this in a more centralized fashion. I do think it has made things move quicker, and you know, there's definitely feels like there's more collaboration across departments. There's one piece on this list that I think is missing, and I think it's an operational ask that may or may not be something that needs to be funded by the budget. But obviously we're supportive of the additional sites, and we want to make sure that you guys know that we're advocating for these things in parallel. But one of the things that we are hearing from a lot of the businesses is that these parking rules that are going into place, the parking signs that are going up, restricting overnight parking. One of the barriers to actually enforcing those is that our parking staff, our parking department, does not have overnight enforcement. And so while we have these signs telling us that we can't have overnight parking, no one's there enforcing that. And so it's only as good as it's able to be enforced. And that's one of the issues that we're hearing over and over again from some of these commercial business areas is, what's the point of putting up new signs if nobody's going to be able to come by and actually cite someone for parking in the times that they say they're not allowed to? So again, I know that's very operational and in the weeds, and I totally respect and acknowledge the fact that staff have the ability to deal with that. But I do think it's an issue that I think does need to be raised, because I would really like to know and understand better how we are going to enforce some of these rules that we're putting in place. I think the funding for this in this supplemental budget, the activities are being funded are absolutely necessary. And like I said, it might not be a funding issue, but I would encourage us to consider the things that we're putting in place, how we're actually going to enforce them. So appreciate your all's time and attention on this, and I support this supplemental budget.
Thank you, Brittany. And next is Matthew Yook. And Matthew, please unmute.
Oh, sorry. Hello again. Matthew Yook, Ward 4. And I was just wanting to apologize for not getting a funds request into y'all or to other budget folk for trying to set up more bias prevention, bystander training, and research of better materials that are not only more accessible to folks traumatized, but more accessible to other standards that are very good to meet. And so I'm just hoping that while it cannot make it in this supplemental budget, a future moving out supplemental budget or the community safety initiative that's meant to provide more safety for folk could go to give at least, $7,250 to get 12 2-month workshops going on the upstandard bystander training, funded and advertised by the City of Eugene. Of course, with $4,000 maybe thrown at advertising, actively recruiting to it, making sure that the material being produced includes these regular meetings so folks can address it properly. Because investing in this will show a great step forward for Eugene, I feel, in embracing not only the image of liberalism and equality and acceptance and diversion, equity, and inclusion as is hammered on in any anytime it's available publicly, Eugene tries to hammer on it. And so there's a way that they can hammer on it with money and fund it properly. And so again, supplemental budgets can be adopted throughout the year, CSI coming down throughout the year, more safety or more community American, rescue plan money. And so, please consider doing more for folks impacted. Thank you.
Thank you, Matthew and Mayor. That concludes the public hearing.
Thank you very much. And thank you for the three of you who took time to testify and share your comments. And looks like I have Councillor Clark, Councillor Syret, and Councillor Groves ready to speak. So Councillor Clark.
Thank you, Mayor. I appreciate all those who spoke, particularly Brittany Quickwarner, who raises a point that I've been beating on for a long time, that I believe that it is a good thing for us to provide opportunity for folks to live in a managed way who are homeless, and to have more resources to be able to get themselves transitioned to a different life. But it will do absolutely no good unless we're enforcing the laws and the rules that we have around expected behavior. So if we pass this under the circumstances where we're not enforcing in the evening our parking statutes in West Eugene and ordinances, Manager, I'm asking, do we have the resources to adequately enforce what we're proposing to do?
Well, I think you all know that our parking resources are really challenged right now. It is one of the funds that was definitely decimated through the pandemic, and we have moved a number of people out of that fund as part of our strategy to keep people employed, try to limit the amount that we were going to have to backfill with reserves. So as things start to open back up and we start to pick up some of that revenue again, we'll start bringing people back. And I think right now we're actually kind of jump starting that and trying to bring back some people early. We've never done, at least kind of out in those areas, we've never done the overnight parking enforcement. I would assume that historically there's been opportunities where police have sometimes weighed in on that and sometimes haven't, but we haven't done that at night. So that will be a very significant shift for us that we may have to consider how would we make that work. But I would say currently we're doing the best we can to kind of move people along, and it's, you know, Christy and Matt are weighing that in their twice a week or multiple times a week meetings. So I wish I had a better answer for you and I could say, yes, we can do it, but the reality is we're thin.
I believe Christy and Matt are doing a wonderful job. I don't believe council has spoken clearly enough about the idea of meaning what we say and enforcing the rules we have in place. And I mean to say, I would like to do this. I would like to make a motion for taking money from reserve for revenue shortfall if necessary in order to adequately provide for effective enforcement of the rules we've put in place, whether that be police or whether it be parking. So I'm not going to hold up tonight's process here for the supplemental budget, but I think we need to speak clearly that we mean to enforce the rules we put in place. And I hope my colleagues will join me in that. I think we're doing a wonderful job to provide other opportunities for people and to transition out of being stuck in that place. But we have to mean what we say and enforce the rules we have in place. And until we have the adequate budget to do it, we don't mean what we say. So I'm going to be looking to see if we can't alter that over time. And I hope others will join me. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilor Syret, and then Councilor Groves.
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you to our speakers on the supplemental budget. Appreciate your insights and input. Brittany raised a pet peeve of mine, and Councilor Clark picked up on it, and maybe for slightly different reasons, but I've mentioned before my frustration that there's no parking enforcement after 5 or 5:30 in our community. And I feel like, you know, my neighborhood, I've got Territorial Winery, almost kitty corner from my house. There's events here in my neighborhood. There's no parking. People are parked illegally, facing the wrong way under the no parking sign, because they know they are not going to get ticketed. And I would like to ask that our parking manager do a calculation on what kind of revenue would come in from actually having an evening shift and doing parking enforcement that's not complaint based and not focused on the areas where we have meters. I think there'd be some revenue there. And it's not that I want to make everyone unhappy by giving them a parking ticket. I just want people to follow the rules. So and I agree about that with the new parking enforcement of overnight parking. Now, when we had that work session, our interim public works director had a response on how people would be notified that they, you know, were violating that overnight parking prohibition. I can't remember what it was, but it's very frustrating to me that we don't have any parking enforcement outside of like routine business hours. So that might help downtown. That does not help the neighborhoods like my own. And then I'm going to add some input I received again from John with the River Road Neighborhood Association, John Belcher, concern about the lack of enforcement out on Hatton Lane, where we have multifamily housing and parking spilling over into the single family zone, and a real concern that that's going to raise neighborhood opposition to the planning process and the code changes they want to make out there as part of the River Road Santa Clara plan if we can't demonstrate that we can enforce the parking rules.
Mayor, just really quickly, when we come back in July with our next update on the strategies we're doing around the unhoused, we'll be prepared to talk about enforcement.
Thank you. Councillor Groves and then Councillor Keating.
Thank you, Mayor. I think Councillor Clark and Councillor Siret together covered most of what I wanted to speak to. I did raise the issue during items from council at the beginning of this meeting, saying that I would be interested in seeing how we can fund additional parking enforcement staffing and also additional hours. I think that's important. Part of the problem we're having in West Eugene is just the lawlessness. Nobody's following any rules, and we're having a hard time enforcing it. And from my perspective, if we have a law, a rule, or an ordinance, we have three choices: enforce it, modify it so we can enforce it, or get rid of it. Right now, we're kind of doing a hybrid of all three. And I think that's leading to some of the behaviors that are disturbing all of us. With that said, that's enough on that issue. I'm thrilled that we're working towards these safe camping sites. I wish there was something we could do to speed it up. I wish there was a way to declare an emergency and just get one or two of them stood up immediately, just even if they aren't perfect, just so we can start having a place to redirect people to go, especially folks that are actually wanting help. I think that's an important part of what we're doing. I appreciate the work Brittany Quick Warner is doing with the chamber. I had the privilege of attending a meeting there this last week, and business leaders coming together and talking about not only how do we restore order to our community, but how do we help those in need. It was powerful to me, and that's the kind of leadership and partnership that we are seeing forming here. And this is not just a city of Eugene problem. This is not just a county problem. This is all of our problems. And the better we can work together as a community, the better we are going to be in solving the problem that's before us. And there's many components of this, as we all know. It's a complex issue. I also want to echo what other councilors have said, applauding Christy and Matt Rodriguez for the work that they are doing, leading the overhead team. And I also want to call out Ed Russo, who I think has just done a stellar job being a liaison with our businesses and workers. And this isn't just about businesses. This is about the workers that are there as well. These workers live in all of our wards. It's not just a Ward 8 issue. That's where the bulk of some of these behavioral problems are, but they go beyond that as well. But it's affecting people that live all over our community. So anyway, thank you. And I look forward to a more robust discussion on what we're just talking about.
Thank you. Councillor Keating.
Thank you, Mayor. I will be enthusiastically supporting a motion on the table to pass a resolution adopting our supplemental budget tonight for the aforementioned reasons given by folks who provided public testimony, but the unhoused response in particular is on top of mind. And on that note, not only expanding alternative shelter capacity by 300 units in the managed safe sleep sites, and the vehicular living capacity by 200 units in a more managed safe environment. I want to hone in on Matthew Uke's testimony. It's a point that I brought up at our work session on Wednesday, and it appeared to be received well by the assistant city manager. And though it may not be in bold, italicized, and underscored as a line item, I would hope that some diversity awareness, cultural competency, bias training would be available for volunteers who are running and kind of self-policing the safe sleep sites. And so while I can't promise that, Matthew Uke, that's not in my lane, I was thrilled that the conversation was well received at Wednesday's work session. And I hope that at our report in the fall about the established safe sleep sites, that we learn a little bit more about how our service providers and our volunteers are receiving some semblance of training that city staff receive in regards to bias awareness and cultural competency and diversity training. Thank you.
Thank you. And I realize that I'm a little out of order because I was supposed to close the public hearing before all those comments, but I now officially close the public hearing, and we'll turn to this City Council President to put a motion on the table.
Thanks, Mayor. I move to adopt a resolution adopting a supplemental budget making appropriations for the City of Eugene for the fiscal year beginning July 1st, 2020 and ending June 30th, 2021.
Second.
All in favor, please raise your hands. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Opposed? 1. And I guess and Councilor Evans, are you able to vote? Councilor Evans, are you within earshot? Oops. All right, well, we're gonna pass it 7-1, and because I can't seem to see his vote. 6-1, sorry, 6-1. Thank you, and that passes. So we'll on to the next item, which is a public hearing, a resolution adopting the budget, making appropriations, determining, levying, and categorizing the annual ad valorem property tax levy for the City of Eugene for the fiscal year beginning July 1, 2021 and ending June 30th, 2022. A resolution electing to receive state revenue sharing funds pursuant to section 221.770 of Oregon Revised Statutes, and a resolution certifying that the City of Eugene provides the municipal services required by Oregon Revised Statutes section 221.760 in order to receive state shared revenues. This is a public hearing on a resolution adopting the FY22 budget. For those wishing to testify during the public hearing, please raise your virtual hand or press *9 if you have joined via phone. Requests to speak will be accepted until the first person to testify begins speaking. When you are called on to speak, please give your name, city of residence, and for Eugene residents, your ward if known. You will have 3 minutes to comment. A timer will appear on the screen to indicate the time you have to speak. The red light indicates the end of the 3 minutes. And so, Manager, I'll turn to you to introduce the topic.
Sure, super brief. So tonight is an opportunity for the City Council to hear from the public on the FY22 budget for the City of Eugene as approved by the Budget Committee. You're asked to take action tonight on the budget to allow for necessary legal appropriations. And just a reminder that we will be reconvening the Budget Committee in the fall so they can weigh in on the ARPA and CSI funding items.
Thank you. So I now open the public hearing, and Naya, do we have people queued up to testify?
We do. We have John Borowski. And John, please unmute.
Thank you. Good evening, Mayor and City Council. Thank you for the opportunity to give public testimony on this year's budget process. I would just like to again reiterate the fact that I think that the city manager has done an excellent job in presenting the budget in an open and transparent manner. I think that the motions put forward by the Budget Committee were well thought out and I would say rather restrained considering the information that was received when you saw what the budget shortfall might be coming in the upcoming years. So I applaud you for being judicious with the one-time funding allotments. One thing that I would like to bring your attention to is the fact that the planning department is losing a planner in this budget. There's not a lot of people that stand up and testify for planners in front of you as budget committees. You'll get the fire department union, and you'll get police, and you'll get people advocating for pools or parks or whatever. And you hardly ever hear anybody standing up and saying, gosh, we need to get more planners. Well, I'm going to do that tonight because I think planners do a very important job in moving our city to the direction that we want to go for. So we're losing a planner in this year's budget. It's one of the very few cuts to FTE that are really out there. And I just wanted you guys to be aware of that. Going forward, there's a lot of things on the planning department's work plan, and a lot of it won't get done because it's just too much work for too few of people. So keep that in mind going forward in the upcoming budgets, that the planning department is an important department in your city. And with that, I thank you for your service.
Thank you, John and Mayor. That concludes the public hearing.
Thank you, and thank you very much, John, for your continued close observation of the budget process and your concerns. With that, I close the public hearing. Are there questions or comments from councilors? Okay, Council President.
Okay. I move to approve a resolution electing to receive state revenue sharing funds pursuant to section 221.770 of Oregon Revised Statutes.
Second.
All in favor, please raise your hands. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and I just can't see Councilor Evans, so that will pass 7-0. All right, next up.
All right, I move to approve a resolution certifying that the City of Eugene provides the municipal services required by Oregon Revised Statutes section 221.760 in order to receive state shared revenues.
Second.
All in favor, please raise your hands. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. No opposed. Thank you. That passes. And finally,
I move to approve a resolution adopting the budget, making appropriations, and determining, levying, and categorizing the annual ad valorem property tax levy for the City of Eugene for the fiscal year beginning July 1st, 2021 and ending June 30th, 2022.
Second.
all in favor, please raise your hands. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. None opposed, so that passes. Thank you very much. That's important work to have done. I now adjourn the meeting of the Eugene City Council and convene a meeting of the Eugene Urban Renewal Agency. We have one public hearing and action, a resolution of the Urban Renewal Agency of the City of Eugene adopting the budget, making appropriations, and declaring the amount of tax to be certified for the fiscal year beginning July 1, 2021 and ending June 30th, 2022. This is a public hearing on a resolution adopting the FY22 Urban Renewal Agency budget. For those wishing to testify during the public hearing, please raise your virtual hand or press *9 if you have joined via phone. Requests to speak will be accepted until the first person to testify begins speaking. When you are called on to speak, please give your name, city of residence, and for Eugene residents, your ward if known. You will have 3 minutes to comment. A timer will appear on the screen to indicate the time you have to speak. The red light indicates the end of the 3 minutes. City Manager, will you please introduce the topic?
Sure. The public hearing tonight is an opportunity for the agency board to hear from the public on the FY22 budget for the Urban Renewal Agency as approved by the Budget Committee. So similar to the last item, we're asking you to take action tonight on the budget to allow for necessary legal appropriations. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you. And Naya, do we have, I now open the public hearing. Naya, do we have folks to testify?
Yes, we have John Borofsky.
Thank you, Mayor and City Council, for the opportunity to speak on the urban renewals budget. Just a couple quick little things. I always bring this up, the amount of money that is being used from the Urban Renewal Agency for planning and development. For the downtown one, it's $546,000 this year, and for the riverfront, it's $744,000. that goes to staff. There have been a lot of projects that have gone forward in the last couple of years. So, the downtown one is down from approximately $2 million average over the last 5 years that have gone for staffing. Riverfront's about even. The last thing I'd like to say to you guys tonight is thank you. Today was my last planning commission meeting. I've had the opportunities to serve on one of council's standing committees for the last 15 years, between 7 years on the budget committee and 8 years on the planning commission. I just wanted to thank you guys for putting me in the position to help you guys make informed decisions. It's been my pleasure, and I look forward to working with you guys in my position as an eWeb commissioner and on some of the other non-standing committees that I still am a part of. So thank you very much for your opportunity to testify.
And thank you, John. Mayor, that concludes the public hearing.
Thank you very much. Thank you, John, for all of your years of service. You've been invaluable and persistent and indomitable. So thank you for that work. And with that, I close the public hearing and open it to questions or comments from council. And I see Councilor Clark ready. Take it away.
Thank you, Mayor. I know this is a little bit of a side note, not a part directly addressing the public hearing, but I just too wanted to say thank you to John Borowski. I don't know anyone who knows more about the inner workings of the city from a public volunteer perspective than John. His advice on budget items and matters is always something I look forward to, because I end up learning something I hadn't thought of before, and I hope he continues to do that. And I just want to say how much I appreciate his long years of service. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilor Surratt.
Yeah, I want to echo Councilor Clark's appreciation of John's service. I got to serve with John when he was chair and I was vice chair of the budget committee. And I hope, John, just because your formal role with one of our standing committees is ended, that you won't stop coming to speak to us at budget committee time. I really appreciate your insights and the things that you call out for the public. And thank you for all your volunteer work, and congratulations on your position as an eWeb commissioner.
Thank you. Councilor Keating.
John, I will never forgive you for selling La Perla because it was the best lasagna in town. I applaud and share the enthusiasm for your service that my colleagues are expressing. Thank you. I appreciate being able to check in with you last week. I look forward to many, many more opportunities. Thank you for being my eWeb commissioner. Though we may not entirely agree, I know that I can learn a lot from you and your 15 years of experience that you've poured into our community. So hats off, kudos, and thank you, Commissioner Borowski.
And Councilor Groves.
I too am going to jump on the John Borowski tribute train here, and I want to thank him for his many years of service. I had the privilege of watching John work from the staff side, and was always impressed with his attention to detail and grasp of a pretty complicated budget for many years, and then more recently on the Planning Commission. So thank you so much for that, and appreciate you now serving on the eWeb board as well, and look forward to working with you in this capacity. So thank you, and maybe you can catch your breath here for a little bit before you jump back into something else.
Thank you all for those comments. And with that, I'm going to turn it over to Council President, or Urban Renewal Agency President, excuse me.
Thank you. I move to adopt a resolution of the Urban Renewal Agency of the City of Eugene adopting the budget, making appropriations, and declaring the amount of tax to be certified for the fiscal year beginning July 1st, 2021 and ending June 30th, 2022.
Second.
All in favor, please raise your hand. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Thank you very much. None opposed, and that passes. And I thank you all for your work. And with that, we are adjourned. Have a good, cool evening. Good night.